I have 40 homes. Hold on. I have 40 homes and I'm still broke. We're talking about a viral post by Rob Mel, Mogul Lifestyle. Go and follow this young gentleman. Very inspirational. Today, we look at whether or not you can have 40 properties. If you look in the middle of the screen, that's the viral video. I own 40 plus properties and I was still broke. We're going to look at whether or not you can have 40 properties and still be broke. Before we get into whether or not I believe that's the case, let's talk about, we're going to build a case before I just give the verdict. Let's talk about buying one house. If you live in the States, that's the United States of America, in order to buy one house, you need something called a down payment and closing costs. Your down payment is going to be roughly 5% of whatever the house costs. The average house, I think this man is from up north, the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, and so am I. Let's say the average house is $500,000. It's usually more than that, but we're just going to use that number, $500,000, right? So you're purchasing a house for $500,000. That means you need a 5% down payment. That's going to be $25,000. You're also going to need something called closing costs. What are these closing costs? They cover your lawyer's fees, some of the real estate taxes. Sometimes you want to buy your points down, yada, yada, yada. Insurance costs, just a whole bunch of other costs. Let's put that at a nice round number. It's probably closer to 20, 25, but we're going to do 15. We're going to be nice today, right? So you're going to need total out of pocket. You're going to need about 40 grand today to buy just one house, because all we're doing is buying our first house. So you come up with the 40 grand, and let's say you make decent money. You make six figures. You make $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year. That's, what is that? $8,000 a month. That's going to give you $96,000 with 4,000 left over. Let's say $8,300 something dollars or something like that. You're going to make $8,300 a month. So bank's going to say, okay, you make $8,300 a month. The mortgage, you can only use 43% of that. 4 times 8 is 32 to 3%. Let's say you go up to like 35 or something, right? So your mortgage can't exceed $3,500 because that's your debt to income ratio, right? Your debt to income ratio is $3,500, and we see you have no loans, you have no credit cards, you don't own a car, you don't have afterpay or firm, nothing. You're clean as a whistle. So we're going to give you this $500,000 house, right? So you go, yes, and you get your first $500,000 house. That wasn't too bad. All it took was $40,000, no debt or anything, and a nice smile and a good personality. People helping you out. They wanted to help you. So that's your first house. So do we think you can get one house? Yes, we do. This is America. They're going to let you get one house. Now let's talk about the second house. You go back to the bank, you and your wife or your friend or by yourself, you save up another $40,000. You go to the bank, say, look, man, I just bought a house. It's $500,000. I paid my mortgage all year. I'm ready for my second house. I got $40,000. The bank is going to look at you and say, you got $40,000. What are you doing with that? And you're going to say, well, I'm going to buy a house. And the bank's going to go, no, you're not. Because to purchase your second house is high risk. You don't live in your second house. So there's a possibility you may go say, hey, man, I'm not paying for that house. And the bank is not in the business of selling houses. So they're going to tell you that in order to get your second house, you need 20%. You're going to say, all right, well, I'm at $40,000. That can't be that far off. And the bank will go, well, 20% of $500,000 is $100,000. So you say, man, I got to go get $100,000, which is not an easy task if you make $100,000 a year, which is about a little under $70,000 a year, after taxes and your 401k and all that other jazz, so that's not going to be easy feat, but somehow you go and you get your other $100,000. So the bank is going to say, okay, man, you ready for your second house? So you win, bam, thank you, ma'am. You got your second house. 20% down payment. So do I think you can get 2 houses? Yeah, I have more than 2 houses. It's possible. You could save, you could do all this stuff. Yeah, you could work a second job. You can get a second house. I'm telling you guys, you can easily get a second house, right? And we didn't talk anything about your debt to income and all that stuff. We kept it simple because realistically, if you make $100,000 a year, You can have that $100,000 in hand, but you're not going to be able to get a second house. But we just gave it to you magically. We're being nice. So now you go, man, I'm renting out that house. So you rent out that house. You're up in Jersey. You rent it out for $3,000 a month. That's $36,000 a year. Let's just give you let's round it up to $40,000. So now you got your second house. You're at $140,000, which is $10,000. And then 10,000 is 120. Then 12 into 20 is less than 2. So we'll say like, we'll give you the $12,000 a month, even though it's $140,000 a year. So now you're up to, guess this, you're up to $144,000 with your new loan, and you got the 2 houses, so your total income a month is $12,000 a month, right? And you're paying for 2 of these houses, so that's $7,000. Well, that's less than $7,000. Let's bring you down to, let's say, $6,000, right? $6,000 would be 50%. So let's bring you down even more, right? Let's say you're right at the borderline. When you go to the bank for your third house, they're going to say, not so quick. Well, I got 20%, and people tell you can get additional houses with 20%. But what I found is banks want 25%, right? So since they want 25% of 500,000 is 125,000. And depending on what you're doing or how they feel that year, they may want 6 months of rent, right? So that's how you're going to get your third house, right? So now it gets incrementally harder. So let's say somehow, some way you come up with another $125,000, right? Think about this. You're a person, you're making $120,000 a year, and you already came up after taxes. You done came up with $250,000. Number one, it's going to take time. And number two, it's not exactly feasible unless you're holding out and whatever. But I would guess if you got up with your third house, you're pretty experienced, you know about the market, you know what to do, you're a smart person, and you're making money, right? So let's say somehow, some way, even though it's not feasible on such a small income, you got up to house number 10, right? So you get up to house number 10, like this young man's claiming to have 40 houses, but you get up to house number 10, right? You get up to house number 10. Now you go for house number 11. Another obstacle comes your way. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, whoever you're borrowing from, they're going to say, I'm not giving this guy a house. He has too many properties. He's too high risk. Now you're going to have to go for different loans. You may have to go for like a commercial loan or hard money lender, and their rates are insane. So at that point, unless you're really making bank, you got a real good job, it's going to become difficult for you to get an additional property unless you have some type of investors. So let's go back to our friend over here. Do we imagine that he had 40 homes and he wasn't making any money? Me, myself, I don't know his whole story. It's very, very, very difficult to do. Why is it difficult to do? Unless you're making a substantial income. And what's a substantial income? You got to guess. Every house that you get is going to be around $3,500 a month, right? So if you had 10 houses, you would have to at least have some type of job where you're making $35,000 a month. What's $35,000 a month? That's $350. That's $420,000 a year, right? You're going to have to, and you got your incomes coming in and all that stuff. So you roughly, for every 10 houses, you're going to have to roughly be making about 400 grand. Houses, right? Houses are different than apartments because you can get a building or something and it has more or less rental uses. But this guy had 40 houses, so apartments. So that's a lot of property. So unless he was making, we're going to be nice here, right? We're going to say 4 times 4. Unless he was making close to $2 million a year, it's kind of hard to have property where he's located, which is up north. I think he's in New York City. It's very, very difficult to do. Okay. Very difficult to do. When I say it's difficult to do is this man, he would also be telling us, hey, I have this job and I make $2 million a year. I haven't seen that. What I can say about him is he's very hardworking. He posts and he sells courses and things like that. Now, in my opinion, you could probably make more money as an influencer selling courses and doing things of that nature, especially since this guy is viral. He probably makes more money doing that than he would do doing real estate, right? But how did he get to that point? Sometimes you got to fake it until you make it. And it looks like a good story of him faking it till he makes it. It looks as if he posts a million times. I don't know if he's posting every day, every other day, but he's posting a lot. He's getting a big audience. He's selling courses. He's selling classes. It looks like he's doing something with his family. So he's doing a lot of things so he can, maybe live a decent lifestyle. It looks like he bought a Lamborghini. It looks like he dresses nice. It looks like he's well-spoken. He has a lot going for him. But as far as a person having 40 homes and being broke, I don't think so. It's definitely not happening. Because if you had, let's say you have 40 places and you were making $200 from each of the places per month, which is just a small amount of money, then you would be making, darn near, let's say 200 times 40, $8,000 a month. You're $8,000 a month times 12, 96. You're almost making six figures just from $200 a place. And most places that you get, you're not making $200. If let's say the mortgage is $3,500 and you got 2 units and each unit is $3,000, you may be making anywhere from $2,500. Even on the low end, you're making $1,500 or $2,000 per unit, right? So if you're making $2,000 per unit and you got 40 of these, you're making $80,000 a month, almost $1 million a year. That's not broke. And that's more money than he's making doing whatever he's doing, right? Now, let's talk about these other things that were mentioned in the video. And the reason I'm talking about this stuff is I have properties and I know I have these conversations all the time with people, right? Oh, you got properties, your tenants, they come in and they destroy everything, blah, blah, blah. Most people don't destroy everything. You lived at places. How many places have you destroyed? What can go wrong in an apartment? Okay, the water heater goes. What's the water heater? $600. Let's say it's $700 with everything. You go and replace it. You don't even have to weld anymore. Everything's push on, easy connections, blah, blah, blah. So there's not really much that could happen in a house. The most expensive things, I would say, is the heating and air conditioning unit. I don't have any units aside from my own home that have central air. So there's not much in a house that could break that's expensive. Even if a person breaks a window's $200. Punch a hole in the wall. Sheetrock is what, $11, and you only need a little piece. Sometimes you could go to Home Depot in a trash bin and get it. There's not, if there's a water leak, if people are home, they're going to see the water leak before it like super destroys everything. I'm just trying to, I got an electrical problem that I had to get somebody to run a line from the box, and that's $700, and that rarely happens. In fact, that hasn't happened to me before. So I really can't agree with this guy. I think maybe he bought real estate in an area. I don't think he had 40 properties, because you have 40 properties, you're figuring, there's also like school, you're figuring stuff out as you go. So do I believe this guy? No, I don't believe him at all. I don't believe he had 40 properties. He has a Lamborghini. Lamborghinis, to the people that don't have Lamborghinis, they're not that difficult to get. You could go to Woodside Credit, you could go wherever and get 180 month loan or 120 month loan and pay basically for a Lamborghini, which you would pay for, a Mercedes truck or something. So just because a person has a Lamborghini, I really don't believe this guy did it. I think he's a great talker. I think he's motivational. I think he's making money off his courses. I think he's going to be successful. I think he's going to get to a point where he has 40 units. But to say somebody with 40 units is not making money, I really can't believe that. Real estate, and okay, now let's back it up. Why is real estate a great investment? Real estate's a great investment because you're going to get equity out of a house. What does that mean? In order to get to some of these houses, you can borrow against a house, meaning that, let's say you buy a house for $500,000, then in a year or two it goes up to $600,000. You can borrow some of that money because you already put down $100,000, right? You already put down $100,000, so that $500,000 is looking more like $375,000, right? So it's looking like $375,000. Now the house appraises at $600,000. And they let you take out, 80%. So you owe $375,000. The house is $600,000. 8 times 6 is 400. They'll let you take out 480. So they'll let you take out $105,000 from this house, right? So they're letting you take out $105,000 from this house, that's equity. That's a loan against your own property. So you don't have to save up 20% every time, even though you still will have to have a substantial income enough to cover the loan and the home. But it gets a tad bit easier. That's a little bit of a cheat code. I don't recommend people not trying to get real estate, but I would say as you get additional real estate, it becomes more difficult. This guy, if he said, oh man, I was an investment banker, I went to Howard and I'm an investment banker, or I don't know, just said, if he said anything that made a decent amount of money, I would believe him. But I know in here he mentions that he was a felon. So as a felon, that makes it even more difficult for you to get a home. Also, if you had 40 homes, you would have enough knowledge about the business to buy profitable homes. So it just doesn't make sense to me. So how do I rate it? I don't want to say he's not telling the truth, but I would say I need a little bit more evidence from him to believe exactly what he's saying. So this is Marion B with the MBA Audit, and you guys stay greedy. Goodbye.